You know, I have been blessed to be able to live all around the world and meet some very special people, but I'm going to have to brag a bit on my home state because it seems to have more than its fair share of amazing people. And today we're going to meet one of those people who truly is amazing. He's amazing in that he has a special story that covers two states, both Montana and Idaho. He is one of those people that had a dream and would not stop until he accomplished that dream, but along the way he accomplished even more than that. It did so with a very simple but extremely successful business philosophy. I know you all will be fascinated to learn about that. So do not move, because this podcast is going to surprise you, move you, and without a doubt, inspire you. That's next.
The Montana Outdoor Podcast is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer, home of Boss Snowplows and Accessories, and Diamond Sea Trailers and Accessories. Go to rmtte.com and see everything they have waiting for you online, or just come by 5680 Expressway in Missoula, and by Superior Hardwoods of Montana, delivering the highest quality lumber, paneling, flooring, and reclaimed wood products anywhere in North America. Let them guide you through the woods at their showroom in Missoula on Highway 93 South or at superior-hardwoods.com.
Real quick before I bring my very special guest in here, I want to mention a few groups that are with us, one of which is doing some very dangerous and heavy lifting right now, and that is our active military members. As I understand it, some of you out there are out at sea but are still able to get this podcast, and many others are at bases all over the place around the world. And we all know what you're up to. We're seeing it on the news, and we're praying for you. And we just want you to know, thank you. Special folks. You're loved. You're missed. Be safe out there. Also want to give a big thank you to our veterans all across Montana and, well, anywhere you're listening or watching. Thank you for your service. Means a great deal to all of us. And for all the rest of you out there that are watching, hey, glad you're here. Now, real quick, I just wanted to let you know, if you would please like, share, and subscribe this podcast. Helps us out a ton. Also, when you subscribe, you get that little notification that says, hey, new podcast is available. It's kind of nice. So if you would please do those things, subscribe, like, and share, we'd love it. With me today, my special guest is Karl Tyler. And as I had told you guys, last week, at the end of the last podcast, I said, I got a special guy that I want to have on, a guy I've known for a lot of years. But he has a very unique Idaho and Montana story that I think you're really going to find fascinating. And then on top of that, we're going to learn a bit about the cattle industry, and especially for you ranchers that are listening or watching today, this is going to be really important, because I've been doing a little research on Karl's operation down there in Leadore, Idaho, and man, this is something. Great history, and when we get into it, you're going to understand what that sale, two sales that they're about to do, what they have to offer you, especially if you're looking to enhance your herd out there. So, Karl, welcome to the Montana Outdoor Podcast. Thanks so much for being here.
Gosh, thank you, Dale. I appreciate you giving me a call.
Yeah. Now, Karl, you're on the road, getting ready for these two sales that are coming up here. You're pulled off the roads near Stevensville, Montana, right now, right?
Yep, I'm actually right at Bell Crossing.
Okay, I know where that is. Well, we've got two sales coming up. One on March 6th. That's Friday. That'll be in Leadore at your ranch there at 29 Tyler Lane there in Leadore, Idaho. And then Thursday, March 12th in Dillion, Montana. And that'll be at the Dillion Livestock Auction there at 5747 Montana Highway 91 South. I'll have all those in the podcast description for you folks. If, in fact, I'll have a link to the sale catalog. So if those of you that are watching or listening want to, dig deep into that and look at it, we'll talk about that. But I want to start out by talking about you, Karl. Let's start on how you came into this world. Are you originally from Leadore, Idaho?
Well, no, not exactly. I was born in Rigby, Idaho, and then when I was in high school, my parents moved to Salmon, Idaho, and I got a job working on ranches around there as well as my parents' ranch. And then I went to the University of Idaho to study animal science so I could be an educated rancher.
Uh-huh.
And in order to go to college, I found that it takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I got a job washing cars at the local Chevy dealership, and then 20 years later, I owned the dealership so that I could afford a ranch.
That's the part that fascinates me is you had a dream about ranching, and ranching is one of those things that when that bug bites you, it's pretty much hard to ever get it out of your system. I grew up on a cattle ranch. I miss it to this day, and I'm in my 60s, and I miss it to this day. It is just such a rewarding, incredible life. It's not for everybody, but those that get in it, it really is a special way to live, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it definitely is. It teaches you to get up early in the morning and work hard all day. It's like I've told people, it's one thing I really like about FFA and 4-H. It teaches the kids about life and death, economics, and how to work hard. So that ranch life is really, really a good way to help people learn how to be successful in life.
Yeah. I spent a lot of years in 4-H and FFA, and my dream was always, the closest town to me was in Missoula, Montana, and so every year we would look forward to that Western Montana Fair. And as a 4-H'er, my dream was one day I want to have the grand champion steer at the Western Montana Fair. And I tried, and finally, one year I actually got the grand champion. And
wow,
that was a thrill of my life. It's still, it's like yesterday to me, still to this day. Were you in 4-H and that when you were growing up?
I was, and then I was very active in FFA and learned a lot about parliamentary procedure in addition to how to feed and raise animals according to the book. And then I got to do it at home according to my dad, and it worked out well.
One of the things I noticed about what your ranch is into, it's kind of similar to what my dad kind of started getting into, was there's a lot of science to the cattle business these days, isn't there?
Oh, totally. When I think when I was in the 8th grade, I got to study in genetics, and it just fascinates me to this day, the genetics and the traits that are passed on from the mother or from the sire, and where they show up. It's just totally fascinating, and there's so many different combinations. But the other thing is the things that are important to some people are not as important to others, and thank goodness, or we'd all want to be driving the same new Chevrolet pickup or be married to the same wife.
Right. So back to when you got to working at this dealership. Where was that dealership at that you started washing cars at?
It was in Moscow, Idaho. My roommate in college, his name was Sheldon Pratt. His dad was the service manager at the local Chevy dealership, and he knew that I needed a little extra income, and because I was washing dishes at the cafeteria in the mornings before everybody else was going to classes, and then in the evenings, uh, I was washing dishes down there and trying to cook, and he got me that job over there at the Chevy dealership, and that worked out a whole lot better. The only problem I had is I did not know how to drive an automatic transmission car when I went to work there. All I'd ever driven was a stick.
Right. Yeah.
And I got in a brand new Oldsmobile with an automatic, and I had no idea how to get it going.
I'll be damned. Did you figure it out on your own, or did you have to have somebody come show you what the heck was this thing?
Oh, I believe Sheldon came and helped me get a lot of those types of things figured out. But I do know that the first few times I drove one, I would go to step on the clutch and throw the passenger through the windshield practically.
Yeah, I hear you.
Today the kids refer to a stick as a theft device.
Yeah,
stick shift.
Exactly. Yeah, they have no clue to it. And for years when I was growing up, that was the most reliable transmission you could have. The automatic transmissions, it was at least the way we all thought on the ranch was, well, okay, those are kind of interesting and neat, but they're just not reliable like a manual transmission was. And so, growing up, that everybody had a manual transmission because of that. Now, I assume, down the road, maybe that began to change. I don't know what ranchers think about automatics nowadays. I suppose they're probably pretty prevalent.
Yeah, gosh, you can't hardly get a stick shift now. And we kind of need one to feed cows. There at the dealership in Missoula, whenever a pickup would come in with a manual transmission, I'd try and get a hold of it to take it over to the ranch so that the guys could use it to feed cows, so it could drive itself out through the field.
Right, exactly. So, Karl, so you get into the car business, but this is all to try to find a way to earn money to get into the cattle business. Is that right? Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, pretty much. In 1972, I told the owner I had a really good month selling cars. I just started selling cars, and I had a really good month. And I went in and told the owner as soon as I got enough money saved to buy a ranch, I was going to quit. And I didn't know it was going to take me 25 years to save enough money to at least get started in a ranch. But that was that was 35 years ago. I bought a ranch that I worked on when I was a kid. I bought it in the Lemhi Valley. And we still have that same ranch, and I've added a couple others to it so that we have a pretty good size operation now.
But the car thing kind of stuck with you too. So your first dealership, did you actually buy then the dealership that you first started working at?
No, I actually started, my first dealership was in Caldwell, Washington, and that was in 1984. And then I think it was 1990, I bought the dealership in Moscow and Lewiston, Idaho. 1986, I bought the dealership in Missoula. And then I got the one over in Dillion, Montana, about that same time. So with General Motors' help, they financed things for me, and I was able to get myself in so deep that if I didn't make it, there'd be a lot of dealerships for sale. But everything worked out really well.
Yeah. Well, I came to know you when you ended up putting the dealership. You bought the old T&W Chevrolet dealership. I don't know who owned it when you bought it. Was it still Joe Taylor at that point, or had it already changed hands?
Well, actually, T&W Chevrolet went bankrupt in
Right.
Missoula.
Mm-hmm.
And
Remember.
there was not a Chevrolet dealer there for 2 years. And then Mike Dolce out of Folsom started it up again. And I don't know all the particulars, but I know that the zone manager called me and said, hey, the candidate we have in Missoula does not want to be there. And if you want to go to Missoula, pack up your stuff and get over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved to Missoula December 18th, 1986, and I sold one car the month of December. And I'm going, holy smokes, what did I do here?
That'd make a guy nervous. Yeah. One car.
Yeah. It was a red S10 Blazer. And I remember the gal very well that bought it. She actually bought it for her dad. And it was really, really nice. But I went home scratching my head going, holy smokes, I don't know about this deal. And the first 3 years in Missoula was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it turned out very well. I got to know a lot of people. And, obviously you're one of the first people I got to know because you're with the radio station. And I did believe in radio advertising. I did not believe in newspaper advertising, and everybody told me I was going to go broke, but I guess it worked out okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I remember that is, most car dealers, they were like the, car dealers were some of the biggest newspaper advertisers around. But you were different, and you really saw what radio could do. And of course, we were very, very excited to have somebody like you that said, that believed in our product so much. But one of the things that really got me about what you were doing is you really focused on service and the people that walked in there. And I kept hearing that over and over. And so I remember we started to kind of tailor those advertisements to really just talk about what you did, which is, when you walked into your dealership, you were going to experience something different than probably you'd ever experienced in going to any car dealership. And that focus really, in my opinion, that's what that sets you apart from the day one when a person would walk on that lot to then even owning that same car for 5-10 years. People just kept coming back to get the service right there, didn't they?
They did. How that came about, I walked into the sales manager's office one day, and he had 2 full-page ads laid out there. And as I recall, it was like $1,500 per page per day for advertising. That might not be the right number, but that's what I remember. And I told Jerry, I said, you know what, Jerry, if we're going to spend that much money, we're going to give it away in our service department, taking care of people, instead of putting an ad in the paper that we're wonderful people and we're going to take care of them. We're going to spend that money where it does people good, as opposed to just advertising that we're wonderful. And initially I scratched my head and wondered about it a little bit, but I had another dealer in town call me up and chew me out and said, if somebody buys one from out of town, you shouldn't service it. And I told him, I said, you know what, if they buy one out of town, I'm going to roll out the red carpet for them so that they don't have a reason to go out of town next time. I don't want to alienate them for the rest of their life.
Bingo.
And he went out of business 2 years later, and our business just continued to grow and do very, very well.
Has this been a weird winter or what? One minute you're desperately needing to clear the driveway and work areas of snow, and then the next you're staring at all the stuff that needs to be done for spring, even though it's not supposed to be spring at all. Thank goodness there is Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. No matter if it is a traditional Montana winter with snow all over the place, or a winter that makes you think that maybe Mother Nature needs to get back on her meds. Stat. Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer has what you need to get the job done. Is snow piling up all over or looking like it's about to? They have the best snowplows in the world. Yeah, that's Boss snowplows. Those will remove snow fast, like, well, a boss. Or how about something that can help you at work hauling all the stuff away that the snow was conveniently hiding, or can haul your big boy and big girl toys on your next adventure in Montana's outdoors? Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer has the best. Yeah, I'm talking about Diamond C trailers and all the incredible accessories that go with them. And remember, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer has an amazing service department. Need your trailer rewired so the lights work the way they're supposed to? They got you. They'll have your truck and trailer doing what they're supposed to in no time. How about some cool accessories for your truck? Yeah, splash it up a bit. Oh, they've got those, my friend. And get this, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer can even help with financing. Yeah, you heard me right. Financing. Go see Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. They're in Missoula at 5680 Expressway. Or just go see them from anywhere online at rmtte.com. No matter how weird the weather is, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer will help you get everything done and looking like it's supposed to. So go see them at rmtte.com. That's Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. And what was interesting is that just seemed to kind of spread where people knew that, boy, when you go to Karl Tyler Chevrolet, you're going to get treated right. It's a whole different experience. And more, and what was interesting is as we kind of grew out of local radio and then into the Montana Outdoor Radio Show, people were wondering, and I used to have people ask me all the time, well, why does Karl advertise on your show, which is a statewide show? I said, because people come from all around to buy cars from him. You became a major dealer of all kinds of different trucks. People that were in rodeo from all around the country were still buying from you. Was that something you planned to try to expand your market, or did it just happen naturally?
Well, I didn't really plan it that way, but it did kind of happen. And I'll tell you what happened, how it came about in my mind. And I went to a Missoula dealer meeting, and everybody talked about going and playing golf on Thursdays or whatever day it was. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I got to do something that is different. And I've got to talk to people that want to buy cars from me. And other car dealers are not going to buy cars from me. And if I go play golf with them every week, I'm not going to be expanding my business. So I got involved with the rodeo, and that just grew. And then I got into the professional rodeo and managed to go to the circuit finals a couple of times and get acquainted with people from all over the United States. And at the end of the day, we sold new vehicles in every single state in the union, but a lot of them went to Texas and Wyoming and New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that just blew me away. I mean, there were cars you shipped to Hawaii, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had a really good customer over in Hawaii that bought a lot of vehicles, and then all of his friends started buying from us.
Mm-hmm. And it was all because of that reputation and because of what they knew they were going to get from you. In fact, if my memory serves me right, with the Corvette, which was one of those vehicles that got so popular that most every dealer would sell it for way above the sticker price, you were one of those people that would sell those Corvettes for what the sticker price was, wasn't that?
Yeah, I've never been a believer in taking advantage of people in that respect. I've actually refunded people money that a salesman would have made a mistake. I fired our top salesman for overcharging a customer once, mm-hmm. and refunded the money to the customers because it just didn't feel right to me. And it's like I told all my employees, and most of them are still at the dealership, all the really good ones.
Yep.
I said, you take care of the customer. And if I disagree with how you did it, you and I'll visit about it. But no matter what you do, I'll take care of the customer and back you up with whatever you decide you want to do. But make sure you're treating people fair. Because when you go to the fair or you go to the grocery store, you don't want to have to duck behind potato chips because you saw somebody you took advantage of.
But was that dream still in your head? Now you've become like one of the most popular Chevy dealerships in the whole nation. Was that dream still to be, I want to build this nest egg because I want to be able to be a full-time rancher? Was that always, did that stay in your head then?
Well, absolutely. And that's why I've owned the ranch for almost 40 years. Just because I've always had a small herd of cattle. And I wanted my kids to grow up and understand, like I said, life and death and economics. And there's no better way to do that than to raise animals, work your heart out, and then have one of them die, and you realize what the economics of the deal.
Yeah.
But also, when you, like you did, get a grand champion, man, there's nothing will beat that. The adrenaline high that you get, plus the when you take it and sell it, you get a pretty good paycheck, and that's a lot of money for a young man or a young lady.
Oh,
And
that
as
was
far as that goes.
that was huge for me. I'll never forget it. I mean that money rolled in. I couldn't believe it, and I had this idea in my head that I'm going to go to school, but I don't want to live in a dorm. I want to try to be in school, but also try to get starting my own business and doing things. And I ended up at Eastern Washington University, and I bought a trailer house with that money that I had made from selling that Grand Champion steer. And so, here I'm a kid. I buy my first house, albeit it's a trailer house. And to me, it just seemed like the right thing to do because now I got that freedom. I'm not stuck in a dorm with a bunch of other people. And I ended up going to work for a radio station while I was, doing that. And I mean, that's what ranching does. It kind of makes you a unique individual.
Something that sticks in my mind, when I had the dealership up in Caldwell, Washington, I had the general manager of Camp Chevrolet. He was a good friend of mine, and he stopped in the dealership one day and visited with me. And he said, how in the world can you manage all of the different departments? You got the sales department, parts department, the mechanical department, you got a used car department, new car department. And I said, well, it's no different than being raised on a ranch. Yep. You get up in the morning, you milk cows, we fed pigs, you irrigate, you farm, you cut hay, and you put the hay up at the right time. I said, running a dealership is absolutely not that much different than being raised on a ranch. The product is slightly different.
Yeah.
But one thing that I have noticed over the years, and I've said this to a lot of people, and actually there's a doctor, young doctor in Missoula that thanked me for telling me this one day. I said, it doesn't matter what you do for a living. We all do exactly the same thing. We just simply deal with a different product.
Mm-hmm.
And that all comes from being raised on the ranch and understanding that not every day is exactly the same, and not everything is going to work out exactly the way you wanted it to or planned it to, but you got to learn how to deal with the situation. And we talk about common sense. Ranching makes you learn common sense. Either that or you get your fingers pinched a lot.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. Either that or you're going to get your fingers pinched a lot. Exactly. So you go, at some point you decide, okay, I'm had enough of the car business. It's time to head to Idaho and spend my time just full time at ranching. When did that happen for the folks that are listening and watching here? And kind of take us to this point now of what your ranch is like in Leadore and how you've applied all this this incredible experiences you've had in your life into what these bulls that you're about to sell at these sales, I think they reflect a lot of who you are.
Well, thank you. I'll try and give you that. Actually, I don't think I've ever gotten the car business out of my heart. I love the car business. And it's not the car business. That's the product I sold. I love the people business and getting acquainted with people. And I do kind of enjoy telling this story, and I'll try and make it really quick. When I went to the University of Idaho, my roommate told me I needed to take this speech class because it was a guaranteed A. Well, that was 1967. And then in 1974, I was officiating a high school basketball game, and this gentleman came over and sat down beside me, and he said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "Yes." He says, I said, "Yes, you're Mr. Heck. You were my speech professor at the University of Idaho." He says, "I just wanted you to know, in my 27 years here at the university, you're the only person I ever gave an F to."
Oh, geez.
And I'm thinking to myself, and here I am trying to make a living talking to people. Anyway, my point to that is, if you want to do it, if you're motivated enough, you can do absolutely anything you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you what, when I started talking to people and having to sell cars, it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I had to keep a towel in my desk drawer because when I'd ask people for money, my hands would start sweating as they get the paper so wet you couldn't read the writing on it. But I had a lot of fun with it. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to do a lot of things that I didn't think I would ever be able to do. And consequently, it made it so that I had a lot of fun in the car business. When I left the dealership, we had over 300 employees altogether. And I learned how to help everybody, I think everybody, get what they wanted out of life. And consequently, I was able to do that. And what I wanted to do was have a ranch in the Lemhi Valley and raise good registered Black Angus bulls. And that's what I've been doing. And we've been having a bull sale for over 20 years now. But I think we're finally getting on track to have the absolute best genetics possible because I'm able to focus on it a little more. And one of my daughters is very, very interested in the ranch, and her husband, Matt Robbins, he's a young man from Darby. He's managing the ranch for us now and doing an excellent job and really cares about the animals. And that's what makes everything work. People paying attention to the little things, just like at the dealership, or whether it be in our service department or our sales department or wherever. What people would tell me is they didn't have a job. They had a career.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge difference between a job and a career.
Absolutely right.
And people in Missoula at the dealership have a career. At this point in time, there's many of them that have been there longer than I was there. And that's the way our ranch is. I've got people there. It's not their job. It's their career. They're up at 2 a.m. to suckle a calf. They do whatever it takes to get the job done. And I'm just extremely fortunate to have people like that because, frankly, they work harder than I do. Like I told them, I said, if you guys do everything right, I'll take the credit for it. But if you do everything wrong, then I'll let you have the credit.
You have put something together here, as well as all that team that you have, there in Leadore, that this Angus ranch is really something. And one of the things that I see here, especially as I started looking through those catalogs, if somebody wants to transform their herd, this could be the sale that helps you get that done, because you spent some time really developing this bull program. Tell us a bit about what you feel are some of your favorite features of how you've developed this bull program from the genetic side and all that to where, I mean, these bulls could be a game changer for folks to really turn their herd where they want it to go.
Well, obviously everybody has a different goal, but our goal in and it goes up to over 9,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And the PAP scores are real important because it develops the strength of the animal's heart. And so when they put them in a feedlot, they're able to put a lot of weight on, and they don't have a heart attack and die, if you will.
Right.
They get this what they call altitude sickness.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the veterinarian that developed this in Colorado, the animals have to be at over 5,000 foot elevation before you can even get a reasonably accurate PAP reading on the condition of their heart. So that's something we've really focused on is, first of all, having good, strong, healthy animals. But then we've kind of focused on having these bulls. In other words, the bulls that we create, if you breed those to your heifers, hopefully you'll have less calving issues with too big a calf or calves that won't birth easily. You can have a 90-pound calf, but the structure of the calf a lot of times makes a difference in whether the heifer can have that calf or not. And that's something that we've really focused on. And then, of course, we sell pounds. So trying to find a calf that'll be born easily and then develop a lot of weight by the time you want to wean them and sell them. Our goal is to hit a 700-pound calf without having to creep feed, just putting them out on the sagebrush grass hills and making them work for a living and still give the rancher a good return on his investment. And those are the things that I've really focused on the last 20 years, trying to develop that. And what I've done is I've gone around to ranches all over Montana, Wyoming, some in Washington, trying to find bulls with those genetics. I just stopped over here at Sutherland's bull sales just a minute ago, and gosh, they're doing a lot of the same things. Kevin Mitty was a really good breeder up down here in the Bitterroot, and they have a lot of Kevin Mitty's genetics. But what I've tried to do is buy the very, very, very best genetics I could find, take it home, breed it to the cows that I've raised there at 6,000 foot elevation, and develop bull calves that I can share with my neighbors and help them develop their cow herd, their commercial herds, or their seed stock herd, so that we can pass on the very best genetics possible in our area.
I've got a question for you. When you walk into any room in your home, do your walls tell a story? Well, at Superior Hardwoods of Montana, they specialize in wall paneling that brings warmth, texture, and authenticity that can tell a story about what that room means to you. Your wall paneling from Superior Hardwoods can even tell a story about the history of where you live or share a special memory of where that wood came from. Yeah, in their own way, your walls will let it be known what is special to you. How is that possible? Well, Superior Hardwoods stocks a massive variety of styles, from reclaimed barnwood and weathered boards with real history to new precision milled paneling made by American craftsmen right there in their shop in Missoula, Montana. You really will get a special feeling every time you walk in the room. Yeah, you can go to the big box store and slap something on the walls, which I guess says something too, but you can have Superior Hardwoods find you something special to you and those you love. So become part of the Superior Hardwoods family of customers and be reminded every time you walk into the room that every piece of paneling supports local jobs and keeps American manufacturing strong. No, this isn't just about design. It's about reclaiming America rescuing old barnwood, honoring its past, and giving it new life in your home, cabins, or businesses. Every piece of paneling shows off its quality, character, and craftsmanship that lasts. So whether you're building new or remodeling, let Superior Hardwoods guide you through the woods. You can visit them there in Missoula, Montana, in their showroom, or learn all about them from anywhere at superior-hardwoods.com. Yeah, right there online at superior-hardwoods.com. Superior Hardwoods of Montana, reclaiming America, one wall at a time. Go see them. Yeah, this is the unique thing that for those folks listening that say, I would love to have a herd that starts displaying those traits, this is the kind of thing that can be that turning point for you. And it reminds me of what my dad went through when he was trying to figure all this out, and genetics were just kind of starting to get going back then. I mean, this is back in the 70s, so it was, they'd kind of look at him like he was crazy, worrying about those kind of things. But what had happened to him was, and that's why this reminds me so much of it, is he had run across a rancher up in Belknap, Montana, that had some of the most unbelievable looking. My dad raised polled Herefords, and these Herefords this guy had were amazing. We had never seen such well-proportioned animals in our lives. I mean, I remember Dad telling me, wait till you see this, Junior. You're just you aren't going to believe your eyes. So we saw this, but the big problem was you couldn't get within 100 yards of them. They were completely wild. They hadn't had hardly any human contact. And so he was just racking his brain. If I could get all those great traits, but find a way to breed all that wild out of them and get this nice docile animal that, you could work with. And sure enough, he finally pulled it off. But boy, I had a lot of bruises and scrapes there for the longest time working with those crazy ones. But you've really spent some time with this, haven't you, as far as you want a docile animal that lives a long time, that produces consistently great offspring. And you've done it, haven't you, Karl?
Well, we're doing a pretty fair job of it, but I got to give my daughter credit for that, because she spends all of her time in the calving barn, and if they've got a bad attitude, they go away. And I guess you get to meet them at McDonald's, maybe, I don't know, but since my daughter's in the calving barn all the time, and she's got two little girls, 5 and 7 years old, that's around there. And then I think a lot of that attitude can be developed with the way the cattle are handled. I think a hot shot used improperly kind of can get things wound up pretty tight. But overall, I'm really pleased with the docile score that our cattle have and the way they act. And it's kind of fun, actually, when a cow walks into the calving barn and wants to go in a stall to calve.
Yeah, and I'll never forget when we had one bull that kind of was that herd changer for us. He became a very famous bull by the name of Big Sky Guy, but he was that way. I mean, he would see you and come at a full run to you, and people would always think, oh my God, he's going to kill you. He was happy to see you. He'd stop and he wanted his head scratched. I mean, he was like a giant 2,300-pound dog. Yeah. He was incredible. And that offspring, I mean, he was that game changer for us. And this is where I think these two sales, if you're out there thinking, I need that linchpin for my herd, I need that thing that's really going to start to turn us around and develop our herds where we've got this longevity and all these great traits, you need to come either Friday the 6th at 1 p.m. on Tyler Lane or March 12th there in Dillion and study this. Now, if you want to study ahead of time and learn all about it and take a look at all the animals that are going to be up for sale, in the podcast description, the entire catalog is there for you. You can download that and look at it. that's going to give you a really good idea. Now, for folks that can't travel there, you've got the whole online program going too, right?
Yes, it's CCI in Leadore.
Right. CCI will be used in Leadore, but then for the sale on the 12th, they're in Dillion, they'll be using what they always use there, which is cattleusa.com. And again, that's cattleusa.com for the 12th, CCI for the 6th.
And of course, you've got I think one of the top auctioneers in the world with Emily Kroll. She's amazing, and she's going to be running the sale.
I was just going to talk about Emily. She's never done a bull sale before. She was a national champion auctioneer, and actually has been on television doing the storage war auction.
Yeah, she became a reality TV star on the storage wars, but if you watch her, I've watched some videos of her, and she's amazing in that the attention that she pays to everybody in that ring and the respect she gives to everybody that's bidding. I mean, she is like there's a reason why she's a not only a United States champion, but an international champion auctioneer.
Here you go. What do you say on the ultimate sporting package here? What do you want to do? How about 2,000? Let's go. Get 2,000. Nobody to get out. 2,000. Nobody to get out. 2. Get 2,000. Nobody to get out. 2,000. Nobody to get out. 250 to get out. 27.50. 25. So there's no prize for second place, sir. 27.50. 27. I have to get 25. Sold it to you. $3,750. Give him a round of applause.
So
yeah, I asked her to do this for us for two reasons. Number one, she's never done one before, and number two, I've gone to several auctions and I can understand her.
Right.
As opposed to a couple of these others. I went to an auction the other day and the auctioneer started the bull at 500,000 and then dropped back to 10,000. And I had planned on buying the bull, but he had me so confused by the time the bull sold. I had no idea where he was at. Right. Emily doesn't do that. And I visited with her about that. And that's why I wanted her to do this, is it's very straightforward, it's clean, it's easy to understand. And she is absolutely captivating to listen to.
Mm-hmm. She is. And and that's important because they're looking for that animal that could be that game changer. And in this case, you've got a whole catalog of potential game changers for people.
We've got about 200 bulls. There'll be about 100 in Leadore and about 100 in Dillion. And a question that people ask me all the time is, how did you sort them? We simply gate sorted them. We put half out. We have 4 feed pens, and we feed the bulls at the ranch, at 6,000 foot elevation, and we simply took half of each feed pen and went different directions with them. And we did that before we actually even had the UPDs, the statistics back from the Angus Association. We just simply sorted them so that we'd have the same quality of bull in both places. But if you get to looking at the EPDs on them, especially the PAP scores, right, it looks like some of the better PAP scores are going to Dillion. But I'm really impressed overall with the PAP, how our bulls PAP tested this year. J.D. Folsom out of Rigby, Idaho, PAP tested them. And you know what? I think he did a really good job. He took his time and did it right. He's a young man that he was the quarterback on the Salmon High School football team, and then he went on and played pro football for Miami. And when the football teams went on strike, he went to vet school, and now he's a veterinarian in Rigby, Idaho. Yeah, they're good quality bulls. And, and there again, it depends on what a person is looking for.
I think people are going to be very pleased when they see what the potential is to pick up here. And I really hope folks will spend some time on that catalog. And then, go see it. And Karl's phone number's right there on the catalog, as well as the other folks on the ranch, and they're more than happy to chat with you about this. And that's the other thing. You'll get some good straight answers, just like how you did your car business. Same thing here. These are folks that are just going to shoot straight and tell you exactly what they know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Karl, you should be proud of how far you've come and where you're headed to now with these bulls, because if my dad was alive, God rest his soul, if he was alive today, he would be in the front row of these sales here, because this is the kind of stuff he loved so much, was somebody that just loved the business so much that they really were trying to transform where it was going. And this is good stuff, Karl.
So Fred Dayshaw, one of my favorite people in that world, he was in the front row of every one of our bull sales forever.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't buy that many bulls, but he loved to come and look at the bulls.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned it. I've heard other people mention it. Your cattle go to work. They're working. And that's what I love about it. And that altitude difference, that's huge. Now, have you found that when you get these high altitude animals, if they end up in lower altitude, do they even flourish more? Or I remember my brother, he when he was younger, when he first got married, he moved to a town in Utah. He was at 7,500 feet. And he came and visited me, and at that time, I was living at sea level. And he said, I went out for a run, and he said, I thought I could run forever, because he was so used to that higher oxygen. Does that happen with cattle when you bring them to a lower altitude?
Absolutely it does. And that's what the people that are putting these cattle in the feedlot are looking for, because they're not going to have them in a feedlot at 6,000 feet. They're probably going to do closer to 2,000 foot elevation. But the animals can put on the weight and carry the additional weight, and that's what we're looking at. Again, there's pounds, but yes, the animals do considerably better at lower altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a lot less disease to deal with, pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
Their respiratory system is considerably better than the average. But anyway, that's just my opinion on the way everything works, based on buyers telling me what they have done with our animals.
That was my last question for you today, Karl, was tell us maybe the top 3 things that you feel will do the best for someone that comes to one of these sales and takes one of these bulls home.
Well, number one is that they'll stay alive, but that they're born alive, because we have Cavanese cattle. And then with the PAP scores that we have and the cattle being raised at the altitude they are, if they're taken to a lower altitude at all, they're going to do considerably better. Therefore, they're going to put on a lot more pounds, depending on the type of pasture you put them on, so that when somebody raises a calf out of one of these bulls, they're going to wean a 700-pound calf probably. And that's what we're all trying to do. When calves are worth $4 a pound, that makes quite a difference when you're selling a weaned calf for close to $3,000.
Yeah. Yeah. As you see here on the screen, you see other names and contact information there. That's all there. So just hit pause and write it down and do that. That last one of the last pages, well, let's see, it's about, I guess, in the middle of the book. There's a really good description of CCI Live and it gives you some more stuff. I encourage people, don't think you're out of luck if you can't make it. You can definitely do this, be able to be part of this sale. So,
Dale, this is something I find interesting. We usually pick lunch for about 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
About 60 of those people register to buy a bull, and 10 of them buy bulls at the sale. The majority of our bulls are sold online or over the phone.
Yep.
I find that really, really interesting. Yeah, we are going to have Starlink Wi-Fi set up there so that myself and a few other guys will be able to take phone calls to help people look at the cattle and bid on them. Terry Hedrick, he was our service manager there, or he is the service manager there at the Chevy dealership in Missoula. He comes over every year and helps me with the sale, and I just talked to him a few minutes ago. He's going to be there at the sale, and he usually buys buys bulls for 5 or 6 different people, and that way he can put eyes on exactly what they're thinking about. Because sale day, I'm not very organized. It seems like I'm busy doing a lot of things, and it's really nice to have somebody like Terry and a couple of other guys we got lined up to just do things for people that can't be there. And so we if we know in advance, we can have them talk to the individual and get everything taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you've invested the time and money into getting this sale set up from the auctioneer all the way through. So this is going to be a couple of great sales, and I hope everyone will be there and do a little shopping right now and see what you want to get your questions answered, and then put that game changer out in the pasture, and the rest will be history.
That would be fantastic. Hopefully we'll get to know a lot more people. And like I said earlier, that's the biggest thing I miss about the car business is the people.
Yep.
And hopefully this is a way of getting reacquainted with a lot of people that are like-minded. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate people listening, and I appreciate people taking a look there. And if they've got any questions, they can call me, my daughter, Christine, my son-in-law, Matt. We've got their phone numbers there, and we'll try and do our very best to answer any questions that people might have.
Yeah, you'll get the straight answers, folks. So I encourage you to do that. All right, Karl. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing this incredible story of how things all came to be and where we're at now. This is going to be an exciting couple sales here. So I can't wait to see how it all turns out.
Thank you, Dale. I appreciate your time.
All right, you take care. There you have it, folks. That's the way this is going to be. I can't wait for you to give me your comments on what you thought of these two sales and what you thought of this podcast. So we'll be talking to you soon. Until we talk again, be safe out there, be good to each other, and we'll see you next time on the Montana Outdoor Podcast.
Thanks for watching the Montana Outdoor Podcast. You know, there's no way we could do this podcast without the incredible support of sponsors like Superior Hardwoods of Montana, home of the largest selection of in-stock, high-end wood products and flooring in the western United States. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. And of course, Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, home of Boss Snowplows and Accessories, and Diamond Sea Trailers and Accessories. Go see them on the web at rmtte.com. We'd love to hear what you thought of this week's podcast. When you get a minute or two, shoot us an email and tell us your thoughts. Same goes if you have any questions for Rigger or this week's guest. Just send your questions or comments to downrigger@montanooutdoor.com. Hey, don't forget we should be dropping a new podcast this next Saturday. Until then, gang, we hope to see you soon out in Montana's great outdoors.